Are your partners usually on the same page with you with like watching movies, comedies or otherwise?
Absolutely not. No.
Okay.
No. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It does depend on the movie.
Right.
But
Okay.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it does. There's rare moments where we're like, we both like this? Oh my God. Crazy.
It's a special bonding.
More of a similar opinion than a different opinion. But
Gotcha.
what about you two?
Yeah, my fiance and I, for the most part, usually agree when it comes to like the movies that
What
we...
just happened right now?
Sorry?
You just said fiance.
This is the Off the Break Podcast, your podcast dedicated to current movie theater news, operations, and insights from the people that book the movies.
Welcome back to another episode of Off the Break Podcast. I am the host today, Kyle. Joining me is Alyssa and Shayla.
Hello.
It's been a minute, guys. I don't think we've been on together in a while.
Yeah, I guess it has been a minute.
It's been a long time.
Aww.
The children of the office.
Yeah.
Taking over the podcast, taking over the industry.
One
Who
day.
can say?
Well, speaking of taking over the industry, I think we have to start with How to Train Your Dragon, which met the expectations of 80 million for its projections. Didn't cross that 100 million like we were quite hoping, but the 80 million was still strong. But
Yeah.
for me, I held out hope for Dragons. I really thought it was going to cross that 100 million.
I think it's comparable to Despicable Me that opened last year. I think that they had like a 5-day gross, so it was over 100. But I think the 3-day gross for Despicable Me was 75.
Okay.
So I think we've had our two Minecraft and Lilo big openings, and so this is just, it's good.
It's more-
It feels low.
Yeah.
Because of how those ones just went
Yeah.
nuts. But I mean, 80 is still huge.
Yeah, for sure. I guess for me, I thought the nostalgia would really
Yeah.
put it over the top,
Yeah.
because that's obviously what is driving a lot of the industry now, and especially what we've seen with Lilo and Stitch. And I guess Minecraft, to a degree, that's not so much nostalgia, but I guess that is playing
Has a
to like
factor.
a lot of generations. But I like the comp for the Despicable Me movies that you were talking about with those 3-day weekends not ever really crossing 100 million, but
Yeah.
because I guess Universal just really nails like almost to the 100 million.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Well, and I don't think it was long enough between the first How to Train Your Dragon and the third How to Train Your Dragon and the live action. So I think they needed to give it a little bit more space, like Lilo and Stitch, or, you know, even Minecraft. They gave, I mean, how long had it been since Minecraft came out and the movie was made?
I don't remember. It's still been a decent chunk of time, I think.
Yeah.
But
It's like
not crazy, but I think with a video game, they have a little bit more lean.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but the timing thing I think makes a really good point though, because I'm now looking at July and at the start of July, and we talked about it a bit on the podcast like a week or two ago. It's been ramping up now because it's a big month, obviously. But what I was realizing as comparing it to Lilo and Stitch and then How to Train Your Dragon, just with maybe the 2-week stretch isn't enough time for audiences to really gather back the money to make another outing like that so quickly. But I wonder if maybe that will play a role between Jurassic World and then Superman right after, and then Fantastic Four 2 weeks later. Although I have been seeing healthy projections, like more than healthy projections for Jurassic World and for Superman. So maybe those are just going to be an exception. But I think timing is what we're really going to have to keep an eye on, despite
sure.
ourselves saying, no, play those titles, obviously. Like, you're still going to make good money no matter what, but it is a matter of, like, how much of a bump are we going to see between the two in only, like, a week span.
Yeah. No, I
sure.
think that's a really good point. I mean, it can be expensive, you know? And
Yeah.
shelling out money for tickets, as much as we love it, can get expensive, especially back to back. So having to choose if somebody can only choose one of those to go to, it'll be interesting to see.
Well, and I feel like we put in the industry, we put a lot of focus on the opening weekend, but as a consumer, I don't think it matters as much to them. It's, I mean, they're going to go to it.
As I dramatically...
Do tell. Well, I don't know. You can't be a super fan of Lilo and Stitch, Minecraft, How to Train Your Dragon, Superman, all of these things, you know. If you see it, if you're like, "Oh, I'm going to go to the movie. Oh, Superman's on," you know. It doesn't really matter if it's opening weekend or not.
Sure, but do you think that there is a mindset now with audiences in that they have to capitalize on like the moment or the trend right away when it comes to a big movie like a Lilo and Stitch or a Superman.
Yeah.
Because in the back of their minds, they also know that it's coming around the corner and streaming less, and it has less of a theatrical window. Like even for some studios, they still have 45-day windows compared to a 90-day window. Like it's a lot shorter. Audiences don't know that, but they just know that it's shorter now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I get what you're saying in that audiences are healthy and not weird about movies, and for the most part, they aren't gonna think about immediately going to see a movie.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, I also wonder if there is a caveat on these big movies having such a big pop in the first 2 weeks because people want to be in on the moment right away. Like that's kind of the culture that we're in now.
Yeah. And I feel like that's just, when the word gets out about these movies and people start talking about them, I feel like that's when people are like, oh, I really want to go see it,
So a healthy second week.
Yeah.
More so is what you're saying.
For sure. Maybe that is. I don't know. I feel like people get the advertising for it, the studio advertisement, and that works for some people. And then other people, the word of mouth works for others.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is a bit unhealthy in our industry, as much as we also focus on like the first 2 weeks and the opening on the podcast quite a bit, but it is like unhealthy to think like you can only capitalize on the first opening weekend.
Yeah.
Because a lot of movies we've seen in the past have had success because of the longevity of them staying in the zeitgeist of culture and being able to make lots of money in the grand scheme of things. I mean, Sinners was able to do that a few years
definitely.
ago. Elemental from Pixar was able to do that. Like it was a dud at first, but then I forget like the grossing number, but it wound up being a very successful grossing number in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's also hard to find if that's going to be continual for a lot of movies because, again, like the windowing factor and how audience behavior has changed so much with like waiting on things.
Absolutely. Just have to wait and see.
Yeah. I guess in the end, we don't know, but like we obviously don't know what the answer is, and a lot of the industry doesn't know what the answer is. But
Yeah.
Or we think we know the answer and that it's completely different from
Yeah,
what ends up
absolutely.
happening. You just can't
No, for
make
sure.
up people's mind, We can have our most educated guess, but in the end, audiences, I think, still end up surprising us. So,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
which is exciting. Can be a little scary, but
For sure.
Yeah.
But I still think it's going to be healthy all the way around. Like I said, with Jurassic World and Superman, they're still well beyond projected grosses that are terrific. But I'm also seeing for this weekend, like 28 years later, having like a large opening of 40 million for a horror film. Elio
sounds like so exciting.
Yeah.
Elio is a bit of a disappointment in my opinion with its 30 million projection because Pixar once was like the king and the standards of animation, and whether it was a sequel or not, like you would go out for a Pixar movie, and now it's very much pick and choosy. So it seems like the trend still hasn't changed in these past few years of like where Pixar is at on things.
Yeah, which is a bummer. I mean, it's original IP and it's a new idea, which is always really fun, especially in the midst of all these remakes and live actions. So I hope it does really well. I mean, it's Disney, so it'll still, do decent.
And it could pull an Elemental still. Like it still could have longevity.
Yeah.
I hope it does.
Yeah, definitely.
I think encouraging original ideas as much as we can is nice.
Yeah, and that's a similar opening to like Dogman and Wild Robot, kind of, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So, and those were successes for Universal. They're making a second Wild Robot, aren't they?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I mean,
they got announced.
I mean, it's not like a huge Disney movie, but
it is crazy that Wild Robot still did fairly well for theaters despite it being released early on direct to consumer, right? I thought I remember us talking about that a while back.
Yeah,
so.
it did, because it
Interesting.
was under like 50 million or something. Their mark.
Yeah, that's their marker for it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, another answer that we still are trying to solve in real time.
Yeah, for sure.
Where's the right solution on things? So I guess speaking of right solution on things, we can move on then to our next topic, which is the announcement that starting in July, AMC is... By the way, I'm just going to say this now. Apologies for the lawn mowing and the maintenance going on in the background of this episode. I'm not too sure if you're hearing in the background, but if you are, I'm terribly sorry. There's no way that we can change that. So moving on.
Guy's right here.
I know. He's just right by the window.
At the bushes.
Hacking at the bushes.
God, guy. But now, note to self: do not do this on Thursday mornings in the summer.
I think it's an everyday occurrence. They were here yesterday
They
too.
were.
Yeah, that's good. I honestly thought that it was gonna be in the clear for today to record. Because I was like, oh, they came a day early.
Yeah, exactly.
They forgot the one corner. Okay,
Oh,
I think
man.
we finally died down now until further notice. So again, apologies for that. But starting in July, AMC Theaters is going to be running more commercials ahead of their movies. The article about it was a little silly in my opinion, only because there was just a lot of them claiming that due to research and due to interviews, especially within the article, they did like their own set of interviews from random moviegoers where they were asking if it's a big deal for them to be playing lots of commercials or not, to which audiences were like, oh yeah, it's annoying for sure, but then the movie starts and then I don't think about it or remember it anymore. So there was those interviews, as well as AMC claiming that based on their research, the audiences that show up for the commercials are focused on the commercials and not like going to the bathroom or using their phones during the commercials, which I don't know if I quite believe that.
No, that's how they're selling ads.
Exactly.
Yeah.
and they also made the claims that audiences were not bothered by the commercials because they are learning to adjust to when to show up to the movie, which I think
that's the most true.
That has a bit of truth to it as well, but
Yeah,
that doesn't mean that they
definitely.
like it.
Yeah, no, absolutely
I mean,
not.
it'd be nice to show up and know when the movie's actually going to start. And like,
Yeah.
I missed like, I don't know, the whole like Noovie stuff of like movie
Yeah.
trivia. At least that was fun.
Sure.
And something that was like, oh, okay, sure. It's like movie related. Great. But now there's just so many other stuff that it's like, nah, I'm going to show up, 20 minutes after start time, it says.
That's
and then
a
that should
crazy
be good,
amount of time.
Which is, it is a
Yeah.
crazy amount of
Yeah.
time. And it's sad. Like I used to love going for previews and for stuff. Obviously, I
Yeah,
guess I'm
trailers?
dating myself before
Yeah.
we were overloaded with
Yeah.
trailers and everything. It was so fun. It was like, no, I can't. I have to be there early.
Yeah.
Getting there early.
Yes.
Even before.
Trailers
that
used to
we
be
could see it.
special.
Trailers
They
used to be so
special.
special.
Oh my gosh.
Side tangent. But no, it was a fact of getting there early. And now it's like, oh God, no, I got to show up late.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
still see ads.
Yeah.
So it's just
for sure.
unfortunate, but is it surprising? I guess no. Like everybody's just going for a money grab, and I don't know. If ads are the way, then sure, but it's just gonna, for me personally, just means showing up even later, which sucks. But
It's another unfortunate caveat to a laundry list of reasons for audiences not wanting to go to the theaters as often.
Yeah.
On top of like
For sure.
the costs of spending now for an outing that's
Yeah.
just supposed to be an entertainment outing. But to have this also on top of it is very frustrating for the audience member.
Yeah.
Even though AMC is for now making the statement of like, we aren't raising ticket prices. It's only that we're adding more commercials so that way we can achieve, some money back on top of
They would
doing this.
lower ticket prices.
I know. Well, like going with their discount days and like stuff, so they're still trying to have like discounted stuff.
Right. I think I think we did talk about this. I'm trying to rattle all the episodes in my head now, but we did talk about them doing like a discount Wednesday as well, which is nice. I hope that lasts a long time, but I don't know if
it's still unsure.
Yeah.
we're just unsure when it comes to how, chains handle their decisions and how long they're going to last.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like there's a small part in your life, if you're getting married and having kids, if that's your plan in life, where you actually can go to a Tuesday or Wednesday night movie. That's out of the question for me.
Right.
I mean, bedtime starts at 6 p.m. for me right now. Like, so yeah, if you're working a Monday to Friday, that's kind of a moot point.
Yeah, the weekends might be your only chance
Yeah.
to go out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do understand why AMC is doing this. It does help make more money, but it is also just feels like the chains also still don't really listen to what the audiences are asking for.
Yeah.
Like I think they are just asking for better accommodations within their screenings within like the space. I think there is just this huge notion of audiences thinking like all movie theaters are dirty or gross or whatever, or like not staffed very well for like best customer service. And I think along with ticket prices, like you do kind of have to focus more on bumping those down. I'm talking about chains, by the way. I think there's a lot of independent theaters that are much better at doing that.
Oh my gosh, our independent theaters, their prices are very reasonable.
Yeah, they really think about the consumer.
They do.
But as for the chains, those are the focuses that need to be addressed way more than advertising. Although I get it, the advertising money is big. It's a really big chunk.
There's no denying.
But also, your audience is probably a bigger chunk of that.
you would want them to.
You'll have to come to see the ads.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because everyone loves advertising. Way more than the movies.
Oh no.
I only half buy that notion because like when I'm watching TV or watching, I don't know, a football game or TV or something, I will have the occasional moment of like, oh, it's a commercial now. I'm going to go and grab food. And then I just still sit there. And then once the game comes back on, then I'm like, I was going to go up. Why did I stay for
I got sucked in. They got me.
Yeah, exactly. Just it's so frustrating. But
Some work. If they're fun ads, then I guess it's different. But
I just don't buy. I
Yeah.
obviously... I skip ads in like most trailers now for myself.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm pretty sure if I walked in and was like among the people when they show up for the ads, I doubt people are going to be like, what's going to be the next one?
Yeah, exactly.
What's Amazon going to be announcing on streaming?
Well, I remember the theater where I was, where I grew up, they would have ads when the movie ended and before the trailers began. So the cleanup time during the theaters. And I thought that was cool. We would get there early and we would watch the local ads and everything. And like there was local jingles that we liked and stuff. And then there would be like 10 minutes of trailers and then we would watch a movie.
Yeah.
And we didn't mind the ads before that. We were like, oh, we recognize that place or whatever, you know.
Because it was like local ads and they were reasonable.
And it was a reasonable time.
Right.
I think that's the most important part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Maybe we live in the larger communities, so we're not really seeing local ads as much, but and it's a chain, so maybe that's also part of it too. But I am so sick of seeing streaming services being advertised in front of a movie that I'm seeing at the theater.
Yeah, like that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, look, Amazon money, I get it. That's gonna be great.
Yeah.
But at least like talk about like Prime shipping over streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. I don't want to be reminded that I could be
out
home.
of those seats.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
You're only shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Like that.
Yeah. Ugh. Icky. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess hopefully this trend doesn't last long. Hopefully, you know, just our industry as well as many other industries get back to a more neutral state of things where pricing can go down and we won't have to deal with these blockades along the way. But just disappointing from the consumer point of view, but an obvious, you know, way to make revenue.
Absolutely. Okay.
So with that said, let's talk about something fun.
Hey.
Let's talk about Robin Hood Men in Tights, which was Shayla's.
That was my pick. Yeah.
We need to apologize because last week we were not predicting it was you that chose this movie.
Oh no, that's
so formal apology from the previous 3 hosts.
I mean, it was movies we have never seen before, and my husband was really excited to show it to me. We watched it, and I felt so bad. He was giggling the whole time, and it was so cute, and I was like, I didn't like it. It was too silly for me, which I never thought was possible, but it was too silly.
Too silly. Do you know in what way exactly?
The jokes they didn't land for me. Like I don't know. I don't even have a specific instance, but my husband would be like cracking up and he'd be like, like tapping me, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel so bad.
Are you guys, and you can chime in with your husband as well, Alyssa, but are your partners usually on the same page with you with like watching movies, comedies or otherwise?
Absolutely not. No.
Okay.
No.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It does depend on the movie.
Right.
But,
okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It does. There's rare moments where we're like, we both like this? Oh my God. Crazy.
Special bonding.
More of a similar opinion than a different opinion. But.
Gotcha.
What about you two?
Yeah, my fiance and I, for the most part, usually agree when it comes to like the movies that
what just happened right now?
Sorry?
You just said fiance.
Yeah, I did.
Oh my God! You can't do that to us.
Do that to us.
Oh my gosh, I knew it. I knew
Did I not tell you that something? Oh my god.
Now I'm
I was
curious.
asking about rings at Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh, I
lied.
forgot I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's
Okay.
funny
Oh
because
my
I
God.
got the ring before Vegas. Even.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my
He has
god.
been scamming us this whole
He's
time.
been scamming us this whole time. He thinks you can just drop this little bit of knowledge.
What if I helped you guys out here? The other two don't know.
I figured, because that would have been big office
Yeah,
news.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh my
we've
God.
derailed.
Listeners,
I don't even
you
know if
heard
we
it
should
here
continue
first.
this podcast.
my
I am like in shock.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I took a shot on that one. That one was worth it. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Oh my god, that's so exciting.
Oh.
But anyway, yeah, we both like this movie, and for the most part, we are on the same page with movies. So, to answer your question,
All right, we'll bring it back. Fine.
but yeah, okay. So Shayla, you do like Mel Brooks movies, right? I thought I remember you.
Yeah, I
mentioning
like
you liked them.
Spaceballs. That's like that was a funny
so
movie.
good.
But
So
like,
good.
yeah, I don't know. Something about this just did not. I like the chastity belt parts. That was funny. I mean,
I'm spacing on that actress. Oh wait, it's right here. Amy Yasbeck.
whoever she is, she's gorgeous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she did like the soap opera type of acting very well. Like
Oh,
that was
yeah.
hilarious stuff.
For sure. She was very good. And the main guy,
Oh yeah,
Carrie
Carrie
Yules.
Yules. I just
Yeah.
love him.
Yeah.
So.
He's a genius. No notes. It's
Yeah,
He's
no,
awesome.
that's it.
yeah.
but I love Dave Chappelle, and I did not like him in this movie. I was like, okay,
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
yeah,
I get
that's-
it.
Yeah.
iffy. Like, you know.
That's fair.
Not
Yeah.
that I really consider him like a strong actor to begin with, but
Yeah.
like he's a funny guy. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just one of those things where it was like
Yeah.
he's clearly funny, but we just don't quite know how to maybe use him or don't
Yeah.
quite know like, or maybe it was him. Maybe he just it was his first movie role maybe, and he was nervous. I don't know.
I don't think the humor meshed very well because he has such raunchy, like controversial humor. And
Sure.
the humor that
Yeah.
was depicted in the movie wasn't that crazy, you know?
I think that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Mel Brooks humor is clearly different from
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like like he was wearing like a snapback Robin Hood thing, and I was like, okay, that's kind of Dave Chappelle, I guess. Like, I don't know.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
You guys see the two Disney Channel dads?
Yes.
Okay.
Good luck, Charlie.
Yeah.
That was crazy. I was like, wow, he is buff. I was like,
Yeah, he still looked good.
yeah,
That makes sense. He still looks good then and now. But
yeah,
like,
no. And then the other guy. What's the other guy?
I can't remember.
I think he was from Wizards of Waverly Place.
Yes,
I
That's
think that was
okay.
it. Yeah.
That I did
The
enjoy
throwbacks, man.
Mhm.
that. Yeah, I was like, what? That's crazy. I did like that part of the movie.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
but I couldn't talk to Travis about it, my husband, because he had no idea what like who those people were.
Was he a Nickelodeon kid?
No, he was not.
Just no cartoons in general? Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe older cartoons. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all right.
All right, Alyssa, let's hear your thoughts on
No, I mean
Robin Hood.
same. It's one of my
Same-
favorite Mel
Oh,
Brooks.
oh.
Oh, sorry, same. I guess same as you, not same as Shayla.
Right,
In
right.
some regards, yeah. But no, it's just fun. I guess it's just I don't have huge expectations from it, just since I have seen it before. So it
Yeah.
just kind of hit all the same.
Yeah.
And I love Carrie Yules, and yeah, just thought it was fun. And love it that it pokes fun at like the Kevin Costner Robin Hood movie, which is just a blast. And yeah, I don't know. It's not like it's anything crazy, but it's just a fun for like a few laughs. So
Yeah.
It doesn't even like, I don't know if it really makes fun of Robin Hood the character or Robin Hood the story really. It's just like
Yeah, right.
using that as an outlet to make fun of like references, pop culture, like
Yeah.
everything else like in the world
Yeah.
at the time. Not to like a crazy degree, but it was more that than like
yeah.
making fun of Robin Hood. Whereas with Spaceballs, it's making fun of
that's, like,
Star
fair.
Wars
Yeah.
and everything else.
And maybe that's why I like Spaceballs more, because I've seen Star Wars and Star Trek and whatever. And
Yeah.
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 I've seen Robin Hood, but really my favorite
But
is
it's
the
kinda
Disney one.
niche.
That's my next thought is like the Disney Robin Hood, and then this might be the best Robin Hood movies.
Question
Ken's
Yeah.
gonna think that's sacrilege because I think he likes
Probably.
the Russell Crowe one. I think it's Russell Crowe.
Oh, Travis
yeah,
loves
yeah.
that one.
Yeah,
yeah.
he does too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know. These two are
They're so good.
they're good.
Yeah.
No, I love this style of humor, especially from Mel Brooks. I like that it still tells a story, even if everything else around the story is obviously heightened and silly and goofy.
Yeah.
That's why I like spoofs, because it's just a meshing of like both worlds in that way. Spaceballs 2 is coming around the corner. Naked Gun's around the corner too. Maybe the spoof is
so
coming.
excited.
I
Nostalgia
really wanted
spoofs.
to come back.
Nostalgia spoofs. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
So, any more thoughts on those movies, or do we just want to dive into what the next bucket pick will be?
Oh man,
Let's do it.
dive in, Shayla. It's you.
Okay. All right. We're going for Ken's, I
Rolling
guess.
for Ken's.
Okay.
Let's find
Real
out.
quick, did anyone have a favorite joke?
When the cameras were coming in, when they broke the
I
window, and
I
like,
do
when
love
they-
that stuff.
so funny. It's so
The one with the glass, I cackled at.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
just
when he hit his head on like the sound or whatever, the sound boom or whatever it was. That was hilarious.
What about you, Alyssa?
Nope,
You got one off your head?
No, that's pretty on par.
Yeah.
It's
funny.
Just the first one off of my head is rattling off all of his dead family members.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The cat choked on the goldfish after the goldfish died from the plague. I don't know. Something
That's
like
hilarious.
That,
See, it is funny.
the actor who played blind was really funny, even though it's
Yeah. Oh,
laughing at a
yeah.
blind person. It's
For
like I don't
sure.
know. It's just him punching during the dance sequence at everyone. It's
Like,
great.
oh, you didn't know?
Anyway, enough rambling. We got to get to the next pick,
Speed.
and that was
So
mine.
good.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah.
You haven't seen Speed
I have
before?
not seen Speed.
I don't think I have either.
What?
Ooh,
If I have,
this
it's
will
been
be
a
fun.
long time,
Crazy.
and I don't remember it.
It's Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, right?
Mhm.
Oh, they're so good. I love Sandra Bullock. I love her so much. Yeah.
Let's go. Okay.
I'm excited for that. Point Blank, Point Break. Sorry, Point Blank's a different movie. Point Break was my other choice, so I'm glad that
Oh, nice.
I pivoted
Very
to Speed.
cool.
No, it's high time I watched
Keanu
Speed.
go around, man.
It's
I
high
love
time I
Speed.
watched Speed.
That was like the first thriller action movie I ever watched.
Probably a good one. Just
It was
yeah,
so
for
good.
sure.
And then I have nightmares still about cars like driving and me not being able to stop them.
I mean,
So,
yeah, it is a scary concept.
yeah, for sure.
Final Destination didn't do that for you, or
I
did
have
you ever
never
watch?
seen Final Destination.
Yeah, neither have I.
And
Yeah.
from the trailers, I do not want to watch.
It's just constant.
Yeah, I don't think it's my cup of tea either. I just
No.
don't.
Yeah. And then you're
no.
just paranoid afterward,
yeah,
which is hilarious. But
Fun.
I'm like,
yeah. I do not need to be.
God,
more
the water
paranoid.
could spill on the electricity, and then this will go around.
All right, so Speed's going to be our
Speed.
pick, but it's not going to be we are not going to be talking about this movie next week, because next week we have a special podcast where Shayla and I were interviewing Ann Sanders from the Liberty Theater in Pagosa, Colorado.
Yeah.
So that episode will be coming out. Shayla, do you want to give a little bit of a rundown on what was going on with that, what to expect?
So I book for Anne, the Liberty Theater in Pagosa Springs, and I was just really impressed by her community outreach. She was always talking about, oh, I want this movie because this book club is going to go to it, or I want this movie because the kids are going to go to it at the school or the summer camp. And I feel like our theaters need to be more aware of their audience, like we were talking about with AMC, and more engaged with their community, because really, I mean, that's the heart of the artistic community in your town, most
Sure.
likely.
Yeah.
So-
So it's a great interview with Anne. She gives a lot of details on her starting out from a few years back, just managing the theater, and how much she changed and just evolved the status quo things on how to reach out with the community and whatnot. So just very good stuff that's coming out this next week. But the following week, we're going to be having an episode released on July 2nd, since after that it's going to be the holiday, so we'll be out. But that's
Yeah.
probably when we'll be talking about Speed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And on another side note, Cody is going to be on vacation for the next 2 weeks, so I don't know if she would have been on this next episode anyway, but she's going to be gone for the time being. But
Just going to
We
Machu Picchu.
there's no game
Yeah.
plan for the hosting situation. We do it
Yeah.
on the fly.
on the
here.
fly.
On the
Yeah.
fly. We never know.
So, but in the meantime, for this next weekend, everyone have great success with 28 Years Later and Elio, as well as with Dragons. And then we'll be back the following week to talk about more with Jurassic World, which, by the way, It's a Wednesday opening for Jurassic World Rebirth. I'm sure many theaters already know that, but just as a reminder, get extra prepared because it's going to be an early start for that big movie.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
And with that, everyone, have a great weekend. We'll be back next time.
See ya.
All right. Bye.
Bye.